Hey there guys, we're revisiting Elden Ring running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5500U. Now the game is of course running at 1080p currently with the lowest graphical settings, and last time we tested the game out there was a lot of issues. Now there has been quite a few patches since then, and I've been keeping an eye on how the game has been performing. A lot of the stuttering issues are gone, but unfortunately it's not enough to salvage the game. Now obviously 1080p is really just demanding way too much out of the game here, and every time I put it at 1080p I actually end up running into a weird issue where the enemy a lot of the times ends up not even rendering in properly. Let me show you right now what I mean about that. I was pretty much just walking around in this area and I didn't even realize that I was actually being followed by some dogs because they just were invisible. They just did not render in. So it pretty much just goes to show that it is really completely unplayable at 1080p. It is just completely out of the question. I would not touch the game like this. Now dropping down to 720p does improve the performance pretty noticeably. We are starting to get into territory where we're at FPSs that a lot of people could consider to be playable, but it's not going to be an amazing experience because if you look at those frame times, they fluctuate all over the place. Depending on the actions that I'm doing, it will cause stutters to happen. So it's really not going to be the smoothest experience. It's not going to be great. And let me show you a specific area where I was getting a lot of issues. Just roaming around and walking around this area really introduced some major spikes that would be very noticeable. You would just notice this stutter that would happen, and it was kind of just infrequent. You couldn't really reproduce it consistently. You could walk over the same area and it won't cause any issues, and then you'll go through there again and you'll have the issues, and it can make it very difficult because sometimes you'll be fighting some enemies, you'll try to dodge or roll, and you end up just having issues because you start essentially just rolling in slow motion. It makes timing things very difficult. And I was just roaming around just trying to see if there was any instances where we could get any stutters, and while they're definitely noticeably improved from how they were when the game initially launched, it's still just not there. And honestly, I just don't think this chip has it in it to really consistently give a good experience here. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they can patch it, but as of right now, it's just not going to be that great of an experience. It is still pretty much just out of the question. So I would really recommend not giving this game a go here. Don't waste the money. Pretty much just buy the other Dark Souls games if you don't have them. Pick up Sekiro. Try all of these other games instead of this because this one is really just demanding too much. Like I said, you're going to find moments of lag throughout the most random times. You'll just be wandering around, you'll suddenly get a lag spike, you'll be fighting an enemy and suddenly there'll be a lag spike. Again, it's not as consistent as it was before, but it still happens enough that I think you're overall just gonna have not great of an experience, especially considering that the FPS that we're getting isn't exactly the best. If we were getting a pretty much closer to 30 or 40 FPS for the 1% lows, that we would be at a playable level right now. But as it stands right now, dropping down from, like, let's say 47 down into the 20s is going to be very noticeable, and it's really going to make the experience of playing this just far too difficult. So as of right now, this is still a skip from me, but anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.